Welcome back to On the Picard, where we talk about Picard some more, because that's what we do here, right?
Yeah. So yes, we were talking last time about apparently there's poverty on Earth.
Yeah,
now,
there's
once
poverty
again.
and drugs, and apparently real estate is not expensive
and
near
racism and yes, indentured servitude of foreign refugees.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
It's grimdark.
Like
and you could argue some of it might be like the Romulan disaster if the Federation did actually invest a lot of resources into it.
Well, it sounds like they did.
You're right. It sounds like they did, and then everyone's mad at them for it.
I'll get to that in a bit because I have a lot of complaints about that. But right now, we're
the ungrateful Romulans.
We're talking about the poverty stuff. We'll get to the refugee thing later. But yeah, like it was the third episode, right, where Picard goes to meet with Raffi in her hovel in the desert.
That sounds right.
Yeah, that my heart sank. Like, that episode was so depressing for me.
Yeah.
Because Star Trek
And I didn't mind the introduction of Raffi. I'm like, oh, cool, new character that Jean-Luc has a history of. You know, she has a slightly different, like, angle on him as everyone else. I like that.
Yeah, I'm not keen on the JL nickname.
No,
I don't think that works
that's
at all,
just,
but,
that's them trying to say, like, oh, they know each other, they go back.
I get it. But the appeal of Star Trek was and always has been and always should be that it's an optimistic, idealistic future, right? That humanity has overcome
and
a lot
I love
of
that about it.
Its problems, and now Picard by episode 3, like it's a little bit over the first 2 episodes, but by episode 3, it's like no, all of the same problems that we have now because it wants to be contemporary and topical.
Right.
They have to bring all the same problems.
And it's so easy. You can do that. You just do it on other planets that aren't Earth and in the Federation. You just do
you make it like you know, like Star Trek has done this before. Like they did this in Deep Space Nine, where it'd be like one bad apple.
Yeah.
You know, and there was Star Trek 6, where there's a conspiracy of Starfleet commanders trying to
Star Trek conspiracies. That is one thing they're bringing back that I like. I like the fact that that Starfleet like command is rotten, because that is something that they were gonna do in. If you remember, that was the first bad in the Next Generation. That was gonna be the bad guy they had to fight. Right. Was just corrupt Starfleet officials.
Well, it wasn't corrupt. They were
alien infiltration. Yeah.
And that was actually that villain that was going to be that they were setting up for that is actually what turned into the Borg.
Yeah, eventually, yes.
So originally, what became the Borg was supposed to be some kind of like parasitic alien that infiltrated Starfleet Command.
Yes.
And this is like the second to last episode, I think, of the first season, called Conspiracy. I want to say.
No, do you know
where they literally blow up somebody's face with phasers?
Yes.
And bugs
and worms explode out of him. Yeah.
From the movie, straight from the movie Alien. Explode out of him. Which is probably the single most gruesome effect that had ever been in a Star Trek episode up until they decided to gruesomely murder
pull someone's eye out.
In the 5th episode of Star Trek Picard. Or 4th episode.
Now, I do like I like that 5th episode in other ways. I love, Patrick Stewart having a blast, and people are getting mad about this.
It was the fun episode.
But keep in mind, like, Patrick Stewart's old, and he just needs to have some fun, guys. Like, don't take this too serious.
Well,
he's like 100 years old. This is probably going to be the last show he ever does.
Here's my caveat about that, though, is that Patrick Stewart's ideas for where to take the Picard character have almost all been bad. Remember the dune buggy scene in Nemesis?
That was his idea, wasn't it?
That was Patrick Stewart's idea. He wanted to. He as I understand it, he basically said to the producers, "I'm not going to do this unless you give me a dune buggy scene," because that was his phase. He was going through a dune buggy phase.
Like in real life, he just liked dune buggies.
He was into dune buggies at the time, and he just wanted an excuse to do it on screen. And then, a similar thing was they did the same thing with Star Trek Generations. The horseback riding, that was all Shatner.
Right, I remember that.
That was just Kate Shatner said he wouldn't do it unless they let him ride horses in the movie. And, these producers just have no balls, and they just cave to whatever the actors want. I will, however, say that Patrick Stewart's pet project in Picard is one of the better things about the show. And that is, I do really love number 1.
The dog?
The Pitbull dog. I love that I mean, you know why that was there, right?
No.
So Patrick Stewart actually fosters pit bulls.
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
So that's one of his like social justice causes.
that's one of the little details that the show has. Like, the show is full of, like, if you watch the Looper videos and whatnot, like, the show is full of all of these wonderful like, little Easter eggs from other Trek that just show that a lot of people that love Star Trek in general are working on this, even if they're not writing, they're dressing the set.
The opening scene, like, of the Enterprise D, like, looking exactly as we remember. They didn't redesign it like they've done with the original Enterprise so many times now to make it some ugly abomination. It was the Enterprise D, except apparently they just didn't know where 10 forward was.
Right.
Because it's, like, not at the front of the ship. It's, like, offset a little bit to the port for some reason.
It's 10 slightly to port.
Yeah, it's 10 slightly to the left. And, hey, maybe it's not even on deck 10 anymore. I don't know if they moved the deck either. But, yeah, that's a little nitpicky thing. But, yeah, the dog, that's a wonderful inclusion. That made me really happy. And I have a boxer pit bull mixed dog. So I have a soft spot in my heart for pit bulls. So I'm very happy that Patrick Stewart is doing this and that they're trying to
did you see I knocked that ball in with the other ball?
Like he's doing this because he actually wants to rehabilitate the public image of pit bulls, because pit bulls are not
because
violent,
they look
aggressive monsters. They are very muscular dogs and they tend to be very strong, but they're loving and affectionate just like any other dog. They get a bad rap because historically, because they are so muscly, dogs. People would train them to be fighting dogs.
Right.
So those fighting dogs that were trained to be that way would be very aggressive and hostile. But if you don't train the pit bull to be a fighting dog, it's a loving, sweet dog, just like any other dog. In fact, my understanding is that pit bulls have a lower human bite rate than German Shepherds or Huskies. Mm-hmm. And look at how popular those two breeds are.
Mm-hmm. Well, and German Shepherds are often perceived as attack dogs, too. Keep in mind.
Well, that's true. But, like, nobody. When my girlfriend and I were looking to adopt a dog, we went to the shelter here in town, and that shelter might as well just be called like Sad Pit Bulls.
Yeah,
because we saw probably 200 dogs.
Well, keep in mind, because people that have the perception that they're fighting dogs don't want to adopt them, and then people that do see them as fighting dogs, or people that want them because they're fighting dogs and want to make them fight dogs,
dog
or just to look like a cool, intimidating dog because people that do dog fighting have them. Like, those are the kinds of people that are highest to abandon a dog and end up in a shelter.
Right, yeah, or they just breed a bunch of them and then a bunch of them end up being abandoned. But yeah, so we went to the shelter. There's probably like 200 dogs there. Of those 200 dogs, I think 10 of them were not pit bulls.
Jeez.
Or pit bull mixes. Of those 10, I think half of those were Chihuahuas. And all of the other ones had signs on the kennel saying that the dog has already been adopted.
Wow. So there you go. Adopt a local pit bull today.
Yeah, there's plenty out there. Now, unfortunately, the hard thing about it is you do have to be careful if you have other animals or kids, because a lot of these rescue dogs at shelters
they have been trained to fight, and they have been abused.
These people, we asked about a few of them, to see if we could adopt them, and the people there had no clue what the animals' histories were, because they were, like, found abandoned or strays or whatever.
Right.
And I would not bring any dog into my home without knowing something about its history. You need
the you need the dog facts. Show me the dog facts.
I would not leave a German Shepherd or a Husky alone with a young child, either. So it's not just a pit bull thing. But yeah, I mean, we eventually did end up adopting a pit bull, and she was a rescue. She's a pit bull boxer mix, and she was a rescue. And they had limited history with her, but what we did was we did like a week-long foster thing where we basically brought her home just to see how she did, and we brought the kid with us to the adoption place, to make sure that the dog didn't just instantly try to rip her throat out.
Right.
In a controlled environment, obviously. But no, the dog just wanted to give her kisses.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, because our dog does look mean.
Yeah, she does.
My girlfriend thinks that one of the reasons that she was given up is that when she plays very rough and she looks aggressive when she's playing.
Yeah.
Like, she looks like she's gonna bite your hand off. But if she gets your hand, all she does is she licks it.
Yeah. But she makes like growly noises.
Yeah, she growls and she snarls when she plays.
Wriggles her head back and forth when she grabs something.
And because of this, like, she's not good with other dogs because the other dogs don't understand that she's just playing.
Your dog is autistic, Jason.
Yeah, so even if she just wants to play, the other dogs don't know that she's playing, and it turns into a fight within like 2 seconds flat. So we have to, you know, keep her separated from other dogs, which sucks because we can't take her to the dog park, and she loves to run.
Hey, Jason.
So.
Hey, Jason.
What?
Can we talk about Star Trek next time on the branch?
Yeah, next time we'll talk about Star Trek instead of pit bulls. But that's my favorite thing about Star Trek Picard, and I just wanted to, I wanted to, you know, this whole thing to not just be nothing but complaining.
Oh, I have plenty of good things to say about the show, but we'll get to some of those next time on the branch.